The other major story tonight, the global aftershocks after that vote in Britain, and for so many around the world, a stunning result, deciding to leave the European Union, to go it alone.
For those who wanted to stay in the European Union, utter heartbreak. Like J.K. Rowling, creator of Harry Potter, who tweeted, "I don't think I've ever wanted magic more." And Scotland will seek independence now. But it was sweet, sweet victory for those like Nigel Farage, whose right-wing party fought for this moment for years.
The sun has risen on an independent United Kingdom.
But what happens next is that Britain and Europe must now negotiate a complicated and painful divorce. There's hundreds of billions of dollars, thousands of laws that needed to get sorted out. Britain wants to go slow on that, but today European leaders say they want Britain out for good as soon as possible.
Tourism is one of the areas that could be affected by Brexit. As example, the Brexit could jeopardize the free movement and affect the flow of trade and travel. As tourism and travel in the EU has been facilitated by the free movement of goods and services, and the Brexit will obviously put an end to it. In the event of Brexit, it's likely that EU-orientating regulations that benefit and protect traveling consumers would need to be replaced with parallel UK-originated regulations to ensure that consumer confidence is maintained. If the Brexit leads to more radical disintegration in the Union, the border checks might be reintroduced, then as the Schengen arrangement, under which the control of those crossing borders between most of the members of states have been removed, will presumably end. That will shock the EU in the long term. The financial protection arrangements for package holidays ensured by the UK law under the EU Directive 192. These rules have been put into place by UK to implement European directive, so that your holiday is booked in Europe will be covered by these regulations and consumer rights will be protected. The Brexit might affect these regulations that we can't predict now. The UK regulations don't apply, however, to the packages sold to the other countries. These regulations make 2 months of your business to package sales. The company selling the package to the consumer must have guaranteed that the consumer gets a refund or the holiday they purchased. If the consumer is on vacation at the time of default, the seller must guarantee consumer repatriation. Another of the main points that EU have in this legislation on impact on the UK is that was a requirement for even higher standards of bathing water quality and the shaming of countries which were not meeting them. Therefore, without the pressure from the European Union, it could negatively impact on the condition of beaches in the United Kingdom. The other point could be said that the inward tourist industry is concerned about any more onerous visa requirements for visits that will produce a reduction in number of visitors to the United Kingdom. There is no prediction that what happen because there's already strict requirements for visa from countries outside the European Union, and the further strictment of this visa regime, even on the European Union, could have a huge impact on tourism as a whole. But let's talk about the positive effects as well. We could say that in this area that we can predict, the positive would be some things that won't change or have positive impact. However, I couldn't see very large positive impacts from the Brexit on tourism, as it's shock for tourism as area overall. And we could say that the existing package travel directive of 1990 that was introduced into English law is a positive area that won't change, as it puts severe limits on operators' ability to charge more money for the package travel, which therefore making consumers in a quite safety area for the package travel. Furthermore, the law it stands now This package travel regulations 1992 that was mentioned earlier in negative statements that I suggested might change. The key word is might, as now it will stay on statute book even as we leave. However, whether we not now decide to push forward new package travel or remain the same remains to be seen. But the collapse of the low-cost holidays on July 15 has shown a gaping hole in financial protection. And the last point could be said, or from the positive, is that the weaker pound attracts more visitors to United Kingdom, as visitors can spend more of their earnings in other currencies they earned in their home countries.
And now I will talk about Brexit's impact on recycling. Recycling is a very important aspect, as waste has a huge negative impact on the natural environment, and the environment is vital for us. Therefore, it is a must to think about how Brexit affects recycling. In terms of legislation, UK follows the EU Waste Framework Directive, which sets a hierarchy for how waste should be managed. It includes a key definition of waste, which introduced polluter pays principle and extended producer responsibility, and sets a target for recycling by 2020. Its target is UK reach 50% of recycling rate. EU legislation has been a key driver behind the UK's rapid progress on sustainable resources and waste management over the last 2 decades. Not to mention that recycling rates has increased 34% in UK in 17 years. EU target on waste was seen by many as providing great certainty for investors and an important spur for growth. Will Brexit mean an end to all that? Maybe not. In Wales and Scotland, Brexit would be unlikely to make a big difference because the country have already set themselves even more challenging targets. In England, leaving the EU could give ministers leeway to set more lenient targets. Recycling companies clearly fear that would be the case. I think that there are 3 options available for the UK: join the EFTA or the EEA, negotiate and enter into a separate association agreement with the EU, or the third option could be UK develops its own regulation. Most waste management legislation will continue to apply if the UK remains in the EEA, and any infrastructure will be subject to EEA enforcement processes. Personally, I think this is the best scenario, as we could see a clear progress under EU's enforcement. I believe that it would be the same case if UK joins the EEA, since EEA is being closer to the EU. Outside the EU and the EEA, the UK government and developed administration will be able to amend or appeal the domestic legislation that gives effect to EU waste legislation. Leaving the EU and the EEA could reduce the impetus to meet legislative targets within clear timeframes, as the threat of legal challenge for any failure will be removed. Furthermore, Brexit may weaken recycling policy at a domestic level, which in turn could blunt the incentive for UK firms to develop programs in this area. A Brexit would leave a huge void for the industry, as it would be unclear to what degree we could remain the high level of environmental sustainability, and billions of pounds of fresh investment in green jobs and growth could dry up overnight. Brexit could therefore undermine economically efficient decision-making in this sector due to the long-term planning needed for investment in waste infrastructure and innovation. Another solution is UK put in place a long-term framework of policy and legislation consistent with circular economy principles, so that the industry can invest in waste and resource management. Brexit will not derail progress on the circular economy. This may be an area where different governments across the UK diverge to a greater extent in future approach. For example, the Scottish government introduced its own national circular economy strategy in February 2016, in advance of any EU-wide approach. I think the best scenario is to join EEA and put in a legislation of waste management would be less good off.
And now I'm going to talk about the key implication of the agriculture and the fishing industry. For the agriculture part, there's some key implication after the UK exit the European Union. So there are some the future levels of payment support and the Euro development funding. So if the UK leaves the EU, it will also leave the common agriculture policy support system. So maybe they will lose the direct subsidies and some development program funding and emergency market support measures. There are some implication of the seasonal labor availability, such as the migrant worker in agriculture industry. And for the UK, the best case, the Prime Minister, she just commit and she will try her best to keep agreement with the European Union to protect the British farmers' benefits for the some farming subsidies and the trade policy with the EU. But for the worst case, the UK maybe need a whole new trade model with the European Union, but the UK government hasn't outlined a possible plan B for the agriculture in the event of the UK exit EU. But even though the Prime Minister, she will try her best to keep the benefit as same as the UK within the European Union. So the time frame to negotiate the benefits with the EU maybe will increase uncertainty for those business, which the business, they don't really like the uncertainties. So for the fishing industry, UK and the EU, they're under the common fishery policies. Under these policies, which the fishing sector in UK contributes about 426 million to UK's GDP and employed around 12,000 fishers. So, and this policy may include the following areas. First is the fishers management. So, under this policy, which this fisher management control on how fish can be taken with the goal of ensuring that fish stock are healthy enough that the maximum sustainable amount of fish possible can be caught. And the second part is the funding. The common fishing policy provides the funding to fishers and fishing communities for a number of the purposes, including the supporting and sustainable fishing and helping the communities to diversify the economies. And the UK was allocated about 243 million in the fisher funding from the 2014 to the 2020. And the third part is the market organization. And this policy put into the place measures such as the common marketing standards and the other info in the market. And the final part is the import tariffs. And this policy allows for the import tariff reduction for the certain fish products from the outside the EU. So, if UK leaves the EU, they may lose some benefits under this policy protection. So, for the Brexit will bring some possible implication for UK fishing industry, such as they may trade off some rights in order to obtain access to the EU sea areas or access to the EU market for fishing products. And they also need for a new mechanism to enable the UK to negotiate and agree annual fishing quotas with the EU and the other countries. Maybe there were some restrictions on EU markets access for the fisher products. The best case for the fishing industry is maybe UK will cooperate with EU and the other country to maintain a close working relationship and to enable the effective management system of the fishing industry. Maybe they also will agree a mechanism for agreeing quotas and management mechanism between UK and EU in case of stocks are shared only between the UK and the EU. So for the worst case in the fishing industry, maybe the UK government will introduce a whole new fishing policy and management system. And in the new system, it may cause some limitations, such as the limit access to the sea areas or some the fishing products. And maybe they will have the basing quotas on the scientific evidence about the maximum amount of fishing that can be sustainable caught. And maybe they will also there are some subsidies will be abandoned for the fishing. Maybe the new management system will cause more uncertainties for the fishing industries.